look like them. I don't got blonde hair and shit. I don't look like them. So all your greatness is gonna be nothing unless you succumb. So all these niggas have succumbed. They have succumbed for the basic survival. You can't knock them. But once you speak out and you do something that shows that you're gonna do something ethnic or say something ethnic, now they label you nuts. So when did fucking Kanye West be labeled nuts? Kanye West was labeled nuts Kanye West was labeled nuts after he said Donald Trump don't like black people, or George Bush or whatever. Once he said that shit, president don't like black people, that was when he was automatically nuts and crazy. And you know what's funny about it? All the black people just follow that shit. You know why? Because they hate us. They hate that man because he rich. They hate him because he rich. So at the end of the day, when I was even talking to an older black dude, 50-something years old, and early in the year, I was like, yeah, man, because Kanye did this. Man, he's crazy, man. Kanye's crazy. Yeah, he crazy because he's younger than you and he richer than you. You a hater. Kanye not motherfucking crazy. Kanye needs to shut the fuck up and not bite the hand that feed him. And that's all you really saying, because you born in the 50s. So you think that shutting the fuck up and getting on is the way to go, when that's why these little niggas is out here suffering. So I can't save the fucking world, man. And I don't want to. What I know is that my children are in the world. And if Lil Nas X is the new influence, if my son has to look up to 50 Cent and all these other people, I'm not there. I'm in a truck driving around. I'm out here trying to make $1 and live. And I am being manipulated by the system to be broke in order to remain a slave. So whoever they're propping up to influence the masses, that's going to influence my children while I'm working hard. And then what I'm working hard for becomes destroyed. And then I've worked for zero. So I take it upon myself to make my own music. I take it upon myself to put myself on TV. I take it upon myself to be one of the persons on the screen so that my children can see me because I'm not there. And you know what they do? They twist it all around, try to fuck you over. They send people in your car telling you that they'll make you famous, but you have to submit to basically, he called it Illuminati, but it really means active political science white supremacy. See, they got all the code names, bro, you know? You know, they don't say how they feel. There's a lot of code names, you know? The Democrats, that means blacks. The Republicans, that means whites. I learned from a white man last year that liberals means gays. I didn't know that. See, they got a lot of code names in their culture that if you don't hang around them and learn them, you don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But when they want to say nigga, they say Democrat. These Democrats. See, it's whitewashed. So they have a lot of hate. And they spew their hate all the time right in fucking front of you, bro. But you don't speak their language. And that's the problem. And I talk about that in my book, The Common Laws of Power, Unspoken Words. They done gave everybody a different language. And it's still English. And they speak in a different language. And it's still English. But the language that they speak amongst themselves is going to propel them forward constructively. And the language that they give you to speak is going to propel you downward very quickly. Because you're in a situation where you speak in a nigger's language. You speak in a dialect. You only have, majority of the black people only have a 3rd to 5th grade vocabulary level. You can't discuss superfluousness with them. You can't sit down and have a conversation where even if it's logical, they agree with logic. They always resort to emotion and feeling. Because they don't want to correct themselves. So it's easy to use these languages. You'll talk to people, they say they business people, lawyers, attorneys, nurses, doctors, and then when they black, they come home, they go right back to 3rd grade language. Then they wonder why their personal life is fucked up, but their career is going well. Because when you go to work, you using the language that is going to be constructive to help, to be a helpmeet to the company. And then you come home and then you use destructive language that's going to destroy your personal life so you can run back to being a helpmeet there, because that gives you independence so you don't have to listen at home. So you're going to continue to support where you feel your freedom is. And that's why relationships are bullshit. Everything is bullshit. Marriage is bullshit. Everyone wants to be an individual now. They want to do what they want to do. They don't care about culture. They don't care about family. They don't even care about the future of their children, but they popping them out like babies just to get short-term checks and all type of. We have reached a point where we back in Noah's time again. It just looked different with the fucking dollar menu. But I'm gonna tell y'all one thing, and this go for the government too, because I know y'all still watching my videos. And I've been saying this to myself, and they've been eavesdropping on my phone and listening, so I'm gonna say it on the video. You see all these niggas? Give them their reparations, bro. You owe it to them, whether they was property or they wasn't property. But like I said, as a finance and banking major, all they're gonna do is fuel the money like a stimulus back into your system. You have over 50 million black people, 2 million black people that are gonna just take that money and put it right back in your system. So what are you losing? You're just moving it from one side of the balance sheet to the other. Let the people who actually have a life live. If you give somebody $50,000 and he want to take that $50,000 and buy cocaine and snort his way to death, at least you meeting your quota for population control. And simultaneously, you've repaired him, and he's destroyed himself. Another one bites the dust, and we still got the money back because he spent it all to this guy, and this guy went over here and spent it all at motherfucking Sears and Roebuck and bought a whole bunch of shit on Amazon and bought him a new Mercedes. So I don't even see why they don't even compensate the reparations. It's just to stimulate a race war. And that's an antiquated ideology. It's a 1960s, 1950s, 1940s fear and thought process. When are we going to advance past the 1940s and the 1960s in this country, man? When are we going to do it? When are we going to do it, bro? We can't, as long as you got 70-year-old people as the head of your fucking place. That's why they put this dude in there. And you know what? The only intelligent solution is separation. Because once you become intelligent and you no longer live for creature comforts, and you start trying to actually have something here, they don't want you to have nothing unless you're going to submit to active political science. That's why the most of the people in the black community that actually have something are civil servants. And then a lot of them that are business owners and successful business owners were prior civil servants. So they've already been quote unquote vetted, according to this man I met in January this year. I don't even know what that means. So this is part 2 of the first video because it cut off when I was showing the back of those people. But it's kind of like these people have a lot of spiritual problems. And once you become a spiritual person, you begin to realize that all of this shit is just spiritual. And I told somebody that shit the other day. I was talking to my boy Joe. The problem is not you. The problem is a lot of the time when you honestly a spiritual person and you walk into a room with someone who's not on your level spiritually, it's like spiritually they can feel the light. So then they become deviant and anger and hateful because they probably know that they've done a whole bunch of shit that's fucked up. And they don't want to be around you, so they trying to make sure you ain't that good. You ain't who you say you are. Because the whole objective in this system is to turn everybody out. Everybody's supposed to get turned out. Everybody is supposed to become dirty. Because when you become dirty, then you ain't gonna tell on them. So they act like they want people to be good. They act like they want people to be model citizens, but that's not what they want. They want a shitload of felons out here. Selfish, greedy people with nothing to lose because they ain't shit and they can't get nowhere because they got a felony. And then they'll hire them at the highest levels of society, bro. Because they're under control. Without us, you don't eat. They want all of us to be prostitutes. I wrote it in my book and gave the definition of prostitution. We're all prostitutes because of what we're doing. They don't want that book to be released, and they don't want people to read it en masse. And the book is not talking about government, because the government is a corporate paper filed in a drawer somewhere. Government's not the problem. It's the people operating it that's the problem. The people functioning in it. The people utilizing the title and the name as an intimidation factor for their own personal gain. So when people start hating me, talking about, look at him, he talking about he hate us. I don't hate you. I hate the people that you associate with that have alternative motives that are negative towards the public at large in order to gain profitability for their own, especially when it has a connotation of race superiority. I have that right as a human being. I'm going to stop giving energy and power and accolades on my fucking platform to these fucking losers. But I'm going to document the harassment. I'm going to begin to utilize statements that do not allocate blame, but explain the possibility of such blame. So I can now begin to stay focused on what I'm doing. Because if they keep opening my trunk while I'm sleeping and harassing me by fucking with my car, because that's the only thing they can touch right now, then guess what? I get upset and I'm not focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, which is business. And then every time I make a new video, they can keep making me look ridiculous, so I can't do business. So it's all still another what? Game and motherfucking tool of active political science. These people are some evil people. That's all that needs to be said. And I really personally believe that the real problem is that a lot of people that had their hand in socially engineering us into the condition on the globe that we are now, they're all about to pay for it spiritually. And that's why we're going through what we're going through right now. They're at the age where they're about to kick the fucking bucket. I'm 40 years old. According to the rules of the streets, when I grew up, I wasn't supposed to pass 25. When I turned 26, I thanked the Creator. And I'm 40 by the Creator's grace. Because I was wise. My father gave me wisdom and I sought knowledge for myself. And now they mad because I have wisdom, and that wisdom has turned to knowledge. And with wisdom, knowledge, experience, and formal education, I'm doing the right thing, but I won't succumb to active white supremacy political science. So now I'm the enemy. I didn't want to talk about a family member of mine, or they want to talk about some friend that got in trouble 15, 20 years ago, or they want to try and make me look like some dude that I know who don't got his life together this week, but they won't go to other people that I know that are on the job doing well and fucking supporting their businesses and say, well, he grew up with him too, so what the fuck is the problem? See? They're only gonna point the camera where they want the camera to be pointed, to make me look like garbage, like crud. And they do it well in the South too. They do it well all over, but they do it well in the South too. Look how spread out it is. Look, it's all sprawled out, you know, open, where they can watch you from the satellite. Look, and fucking do what they want to do, play games. It's all looking all peaceful and nice and looking like it's a good, beautiful day, but you got evil people riding around in cars with negative intentions. So it's time for separation. And they've been sending a lot of people to pick my brain in regard to that also in the past 3 to 4 weeks, which is highly frustrating, but I don't care anymore. The only thing you can do in this world is to continue to be self-sufficient. And self-sufficiency is why I'm where I'm at. They just can't fathom that a nigger is self-sufficient without illegality. That's your fucking insecurity. That's your fucking problem. That's not my fucking problem. So don't dump your insecurities and your fucking problems on me. That's not my issue. I shouldn't be sitting here worried about your fucking problem. If you're a bigot, you're a white supremacist asshole, that's your fucking problem. I'm not a bigot. I'm not a black supremacist. I love everybody. I don't care what color you are. But what I realize is coming into mainstream America, they have an agenda to separate themselves from the slaves that they milked to get all the shit that they have. So in mainstream America, racism is the code. I didn't grow up like that in New York City. I don't know nothing about that. I don't hate people based on race. Down here in Georgia, they'll say, you a nigga, so you belong in Colley Park. You a nigga, so you belong in Decatur. When I'm in New York, don't nobody tell me where I belong. Maybe after 11:30, if I'm on parking first, someone may look and say, this dude don't belong here. But I ain't gonna even get in the building anyway, so they don't give a shit. I'm going to Woolworths. But down here, Michigan, Wisconsin, they got this code that niggas are redlined and steered. And when you come out here and you're not going to be redlined and steered by them, they going to play these social games and get you out. And then they're going to label you something, like my wee boy used to say, labels. They go to labelism to get everybody against you. All political science tactics, bro. So these videos have to be made to expose these people, man. These videos have to be made because y'all niggas nowadays don't think there's no Malcolm X's out here. Y'all niggas out here don't think there's no Martin Luther Kings out here still. Or prospective ones, 5 years old right now, growing up, that will make change in your community. You're not supposed to even think about that. And when you even go to these old niggas like the nigga I was dealing with in January, he don't even want to think about that. You know why? Because in his world, that would mean you might be better than him. Because he didn't fight for shit. He just took care of himself. Took care of his family, which ain't no problem with that. But your culture is in a deficit in this nation. What the fuck have you done in addition? And he contributes in his own way. I'm not gonna get into that. But the contribution that you're making is limited. Because there has to be an active role. You may go and do stuff for 5-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds that they may even forget or fuck up in their folly, because when you leave, like I was a social worker, when they leave and they go home, they got to deal with the tyranny at home. It don't matter how good you are. And sometimes by being a good person in these people's lives, it's even worse for them. Because when they come home, they see that you're better than their dad or you're better than their mom. And then they internalize that and hate themselves even fucking more. And then they fuck themselves up. I had that happen with one client in New Jersey. By me being so loving and nice to him, he internalized that and he motherfucking went and put himself in the worst position because he couldn't see himself doing better. So sometimes you can't help people, man. But you got the opportunity to help somebody that's worthy. You got somebody who put the work in on paper. You got somebody who can come in and tell you he has an MBA. You got somebody who can come in and tell you he's been to law school, so he's educated. So there's not going to be some regulatory issue or some legal problem on the job that he can't notice and then raise a red flag to save the company, if anything. You're getting an attorney's knowledge, plus you're getting a fucking worker. And you have no respect for that. You getting a person with other credentials that lead in. Any experiences that we have in this world helps what we're doing. And you shit on me because I'm black and some white people come and tell you some propaganda? It just shows you the power of the political science. So it doesn't matter who you are, how good you are. It doesn't matter how bad you are. They got a better player than Michael Jordan. He's from New Jersey. He's from New York. That nigga was dunking from half court. Or dunking from the arch. From the 70s. He never made it. He never joined. I spent all my time working my ass off just to be a fucking nigga, man. So the only thing left is fucking separation. And I already know that you're preparing to follow me around when I separate. So I'm gonna say this on the fucking video. When I separate, you gotta understand this whole world is a colored world. Only white places here in certain white nations. And they're doing well, and the black nations are suffering. But you see what white people do? They don't do shit. They drive around, they go to work, they come home, they pay taxes, they go out and eat, then they go home. Now what the fuck more is there to do in this world but that? The only difference is, are you doing it in a nation of people that look like you, care about you, have the same interests as you? Or are you doing it in a nation where people want to kill you, ensnare you, and trap you, and limit the future of your generations? So make another propaganda. This guy's A, B, and C. He may come to your country and do this or that. My only goal is to live and not be harassed by white supremacists saying that they're doing their fucking job, man. Because they are doing their job. And that's the worst part about it. Their job is to fuck with me. Because I'm a nigga. There's only 2 boxes on each application. It's white and black. Pacific Islander mean nigga. It's just a different color one. So if nobody want to hire me in this country, nobody want to care. The biggest problem I've had since I've been here and local in the past 2 years is I've been going to black companies to work for them. I went to Legacy Home Loans. That's a black-owned company. It's the only black-owned company, mortgage company in the fucking country, bro. I want to go there, support it. The white supremacists don't want me working for blacks. They want that company to go under systematically over time. You're not going to get a young guy coming in and keep this shit open. You're 60-something. The other guy that works at the other office is over 60. Once y'all dead, y'all don't got no prodigy here. He's a one-man office. He's a one-man office. So if you bring in this young guy, that might keep this company going. They're trying to systematically dismantle this mortgage company out east because it's southeast. And these niggas are allowing it. I can't believe that because I go to a black company to go and work, they don't want me to work there. I go to work for another black company before him. They sabotage that. But they'll usher in a black guy from the Air Force, who's probably Air Force, who works for a white guy to me to go work for the white guy. I don't understand this race. I don't understand this fucking race shit, bro. I don't understand it, bro. Why can't I work for somebody who we have the same values? Why can't I work for somebody that I feel comfortable working with? Why can't I go to a place and work somewhere where I feel comfortable? Where I don't feel like someone's over my head and making me feel like shit every fucking day that I go in? Why would I choose to go to black companies? They sabotaging it, but then if I was to right now say y'all go for work for a white mortgage company, they wouldn't say shit. Why do I have to have a white master? That's all this shit is about. I don't want a white person telling me what to do. It's been over 400 fucking years y'all white people been telling black people what to do, and we've gotten nowhere. You acting like these people are not licensed and credentialed to do what they're doing. But if I go to a white company, you sabotage me. I went to 2 black companies, both black companies, I can still operate my business and do business with them. You come in there and screw that up. But if I go to a white company, you're going to tell me I got to sacrifice my business to work there. Why should I sacrifice ownership to go work for somebody else? When I can go work with these black people, maintain my ownership, and still work with them. And you come in there with propaganda to destroy that? This is all fucking white supremacy, racism going down here in fucking Georgia, Arkansas, South Carolina, fucking Texas, Louisiana. Nobody's doing shit. And these niggas ain't doing nothing either. So the only solution is separation. And when they know that you know, and you know that they know, then they try to cut your bread now. Make sure you don't make no money now. Hopefully you commit a crime like the niggas in Philly. That's why the nigga told me to go rob from Long Island. It was an allusion to the 50s or the 60s when that nigga got arrested in Philly for robbery. Why is a mortgage nigga making allusions to committing robberies when I'm asking for a job? This shit is fucking out of control. And any of you black people that don't give a shit about me because I'm not from this country, I'm a first generation American, so I stand up on my rights and I'm not going to shut my mouth while doing it. And I'm not going to do it quietly to make white people feel appeased and feel good. I'm not going to motherfucking bow to these people. In my culture, we said, "Mina bow," so we don't bow to nobody. The only person we bow to is the Almighty Creator. So if you have a problem that I will not bow in order to make them feel good so they can help me, I don't need them to help me. You could be helping me. But they got you in their back pocket too. You've all succumbed to active political science for your best interest and your greed and your self-survival. And that's the position, position of prostitution that they have put coloreds and minorities and immigrants in and this whole globe. So we have to worship their money and worship their money and worship their money, and then they got all the access to the money, and then they can keep you enslaved forever on the entire globe, not even just in little Georgia. I don't know why these people get to come to this planet and dominate us like this and get away with it, but they doing it anyway. They doing it anyway. So a white man, I was telling my boy Joseph about the other day, and I'm gonna really end this video, this is the second part. White man the other day was like, we told Bob Marley, we gave him the sign to stop, and he wouldn't stop. So what he was saying was, out of patriotism, he had to murder Bob Marley out of patriotism for the United States. But once he murdered Bob Marley, it was Bob Marley's fault. Because Bob Marley didn't listen. They gave him the sign that he need to stop, and he didn't stop. So when they murder him, he murdered himself. Ain't that what narcissists do, bro? Ain't that what narcissists do? Narcissists do something and blame it on you. Narcissists commit harm and tell you you did it to yourself. That's what a narcissist does. But the interesting thing was, out of death, the white man sees an end, a treacherous end. But in death, when we believe in the Almighty God, we see freedom. So we already see the world through two different eyes. You covet a world that you must leave from eventually, because we all have to leave from here. And we covet the world to come. Our alien that came down here and put the suit on and called himself Yahshua, he already gave us the scoop. That's why you don't want people to read the Bible for themselves. That's why you got preachers telling them what to do. Let them read the Bible for themselves and gain the spirit of truth for themselves. They going out listening to other people, and then they going to hell. In the earth, and then they're going to fucking find themselves probably back here again. Because they have not lifted up their vibration enough to deserve a new body in Yahshua. But there's people out here who know. So maybe Bob knew that it's time to get out of here. All you're doing is getting taxed. You shit every fucking day. You gotta find toilet paper. Your relationships are garbage. The women are fighting over stupidity. You can't build a family that's worth the shit. You can't enjoy your masculinity because that's toxic, whether one way or the other. You might be rich, but you can't enjoy it. You enjoy it, everybody hates you because you're enjoying your wealth. And then you're still black, so no matter what you do, they hate you. You talk to people about social reform, you smoke a blunt. While you're talking about it, the interviewer talks about the blunt. Like, if it was a cigarette and he was smoking a cigarette, you wouldn't be talking about how much tobacco was in the cigarette. So why are you doing that? Why are you turning the camera to what you want to be seen instead of turning the camera to what's going on. Because that's the political science of these people. And the only solution to this fucking shit is death. That's the only solution. If I die tomorrow, I don't gotta put no more gas in the car. If I die tomorrow, they don't have to fucking look at my tax record, and then that's another person they don't have to account for. That's the only solution to this shit when you're a fucking nigga. Death. These young boys don't see no promise that there's going to be a sufficient amount of attorney positions for them within the law firms throughout this nation. So they inherently internalize that, and they're shooting each other in the fucking streets by the time they're 17, 18 years old. So what benefit is it being here when you have no ethnic pride and you got access to a dollar menu? What benefit is it to be here when everything that you do, you look at the television and you look at all of the medias, and then you are the total opposite of the people presented in front of you, and every time you look at them smiling in Disneyland, they doing well. And you gotta go back to a dirty box somewhere with a single mother who's probably sexually frustrated, who's yelling at you, and she don't know what the fuck to do, but she know to take it out on her man and now support him, and now you the man, and now you ain't shit because you just like your daddy, and then you don't even know what the fuck you did wrong. Take it out in the streets. And no one's giving any psychological therapy to these young men. No one's showing any empathy or sympathy because they're looking for the empathy, the sympathy, and the thought process to provide it from a white psychologist who cannot relate to your condition. So it's all psychosis. And I don't live in psychosis. So, the solution is separation. Riches is in the mind. Because you can have all this material and still be a fucking empty barrel that's making the most fucking noise. So I don't have no problem walking away from all the riches and the opportunity to finance a new Jeep and all that other shit. Because at the end of the day, it's all just fucking liabilities, man. And no one's gonna keep stringing me around to keep their system alive, giving me hope. And you gotta have hope. Hope in what? The shit is fucking rigged. And George Carlin said it in his stand-up. The game is rigged, folks. You are not in the big club. So the question is, what are you doing? Because you're not in the big club with other people that are not in the big club to encourage your survival. Most niggas are like, I'm not doing shit because they're gonna come down my door. So we living in communism. We're not living in capitalism. We're not living in a democracy. And they hate me because I discussed that in my book. How this nation is consistent of all political parties. And wherever you come from around the globe, you fit in. If you're a communist, you coming from China as a communist, you might meet other Chinese people, but you was raised a communist, so you still gonna behave like a communist, even though you in a quote-unquote democracy. And they use communism efficiently to produce capital, and then they're doing better than the black people from here that say that they're Democrats. Once you're intelligent enough to understand that this all bullshit, then they hate you. Because you're supposed to still be a slave to something. I'm not gonna call his name, but a special person to me. I know he probably don't like me no more. We had a falling out. I don't know why. He looked staged to me, but he said to me, the only way to be free is to control your desire. And like King Solomon said, all is fucking vanity, bro. This is all vanity. I'm supposed to go today, go get dressed up, to go to a club, to go impress somebody who may shit on me in another 5 years. I'm supposed to have an ego to go do this and go do that and buy this and buy that, to drive around to stun on somebody who don't give a shit about that. I'm supposed to go buy a big ass house that I can't fucking afford and pay $80,000 a year in taxes so that I can motherfucking impress a whole bunch of people that just want to use me anyway. I'm supposed to go before a magistrate and marry a female that don't give a fuck about me and using me as a leg up just to get where she want to go, and then create an issue to divorce me to take half my shit so she can be the man, and then go meet another nigga she can dominate. The only people on this planet that has had this whole perspective on life correct has been Buddhist monks, or monks in general, any form of monk, or shaman type guy, or the medicine man, alleged medicine man, or the people who still live in tribes. You know why? Because every single day they live for life, bro. And all we do now in this sophisticated world is live for money. Every fucking day I gotta get up and live my life for this. A paper that don't even fucking exist, bro. A paper that ain't even worth shit no more. It's a note, not even a currency, bro. It's a debt. Every fucking day I gotta worship this shit. Every fucking day. You think that's a healthy life? And then when I understand indigenous life and I want to go back to indigenous life, these white people, they psychological manipulators. You're crazy, man. You're crazy, B. I have a mental problem for not worshiping this. I have a mental problem for not worshiping a fucking dollar. I don't care what type of dollar. A rand, a fucking whatever. A naira. I'm the psychopath because I don't want to live for this, for a paper. Every day. How many fucking hours I've been away from my children since I had them? An Indian nigga in South America, he with his children every day. From the womb to the tomb, they learning life skills every fucking day. What animals to stay away from, what insects not to touch, what plants do this, what plants do that, what trees are healthy, what trees are not healthy, what trees are edible, which ones to stay away from. They enjoying the fucking planet, and they still have their families, and we got all this fucking vanity and bullshit, and we still don't have nothing. But I'm the freak, the psychopath to want to separate. That's the perspective of a motherfucker who got access to all this shit. That's the perspective of a motherfucker who can't relate to me not having shit. I talk to a lot of white people and they say the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I never grew up rich. I don't have nothing. I grew up poor. How the fuck you poor and you white in a white nation and they print the most powerful currency on the planet? That means you just need to get a plan, bro, and stop being fucking lazy, bro. You ain't gotta be a nigga. You ain't gotta walk through the door and already be at the bottom. I spoke to a white man a month ago. He said to me, I got my regular job. I do what I do. I travel. I make my money. I'm not rich. I'm poor. You know, I got 10 acres, a farm. This nigga's got 10 acres in America, an operating farm, but he's still poor. That shows you how fucking rich he is, bro. He's self-sufficient and he's calling himself poor. And he still got a job with access to the richest dollar in the world, with all the fucking amenities anybody would want in the fucking world, and he's calling himself poor. He has no understanding of nation building, bro. He's taking for granted his whiteness because he's not Jeff Bezos. You are Jeff Bezos. You're white. Jeff Bezos is doing everything for you. The fuck you think he's working for? White supremacy. You say you poor? You want to see some fucking poor? Go to where my people is from and walk 3 miles and get that fucking bucket of water and don't spill it by the time you get home, because you got to wash your clothes, your hair, your ass, and your daughter. You want to see poverty? But in his mind, he's poor. And this is why there's a fucking disconnect, a cultural disconnect. And he's rich to me because I just tried to buy 5 acres and they call the cops. And they plant weed in my car so that I can look like a criminal if I take it and get arrested, so I can't have the land. So they won't even let me have no land. They gonna come up with whatever fucking lie, reason, propaganda, false truth, half truth, motherfucking excuse. So I can't have what he has, and he's still saying he's poor, and I'm trying to get what he has to be self-sufficient, and he's already self-sufficient, but he's poor. How you gonna be poor but you self-sufficient, man? You're working just to gain this, but you don't have to, because you got plants at home, you growing some food, you probably got some type of cattle or animal on your property you can slaughter to eat. The fucking this fails and the system fails. You got safety on 10 acres, and you talking about you fucking poor, bro? When I was in the Air Force,